The next topic in the course is destructuring. So destructuring deals with three things: object properties, function arguments, and arrays. Let's look at what destructuring does for the object properties. I have a box object here which has two properties, names and type. Right? So if I want to extract out the properties onto variables here, what would I do in ES5? I will say const name is equal to box.names and type is equal to box.type. So if I print names, you can see apple and orange, and if you print type, you can see fruit. Right? So how do we do this in ES6 using destructuring? So let me comment them out. So what we can simply do is I can say const and I can say brackets names is equal to box, right? And I can say const type is equal to box. It's very simple. The name of the variable and the name of the property is supposed to match. If you don't use a matching property here, I will not get anything. It will remain empty, right? So you can also change this syntax to something like this: names, comma, type. In a single line, also you can do this, right? The key thing here is the name of the variable to which it is assigned and the name of the property should be exactly the same, right? This is destructuring of object properties. So let's see how to destructure function arguments. So let me say I have a function called create user. So the create user method takes as arguments some 5 different things. Say name, age, role, email, and department, right? Print something here. Let's keep it simple. It prints all of them here. Now I'll have to invoke this function. So when I invoke this function, right? So how do I invoke? I'll have to pass name here. Name is Dave. And then I have to go back and refer to my function definition, which is age is a second parameter. And then I say 21 is the age. Role is the next parameter. I have to say author. Email is the next parameter. I have to say Dave at example.com, and then I say department, which can be Max department, right? I'll have to exactly remember the order in which the parameters are passed to the function, right? Otherwise, I may end up using it incorrectly inside the function, right? So how can I overcome this problem? In the real time scenarios, there can be n number of variables, right? And I cannot really remember the order of each of the function arguments, right? So what we can do in ES6 by using destructuring is we can create a variable called const user is equal to, and then I say name is Dave, right? And then age is 21, and then role is author, email is Dave at say gmail.com, and then what's the last one? Department. Department is maths, right? So I can choose to pass only this one object here, right, as user, and then I can destructure it here by surrounding it with flower brackets. User object that I'm passing here becomes name, age, role, email, and department when it gets passed to the function. So this is called function arguments destructuring. It comes very handy in the real-time scenarios, right? So let's look at our third example, which is destructuring arrays. Cons numbers 1, 4. Thanks. So if I want to access the first element or the second element, what do I usually do? We can say console.log and say numbers of 0 or numbers of 1, 2, 3, something like that, right? So in case of destructuring, what we can do is I'll say const, right? I can say num, and I can simply say num. It will print me the first element in my array. Suppose I want to get all of them separately. I can say console.log num1 or num2 or number 3. You can see it gets switching. Many times we do this, right? I have a list of elements in my array. I want to get the first element of my array. So we do this, right? So whenever I want to get the first element of my array, I can always go ahead and do this. Suppose I want to get the first element of my array alone and rest of it in the remaining in another variable. So what do? I can always say dot remaining. Now if you see, my num1 is going to give me 1, and there is a variable remaining which is going to have the rest of my array in an array, right? So this is how we destructure the array. Let's get little complex here. Say I have a users array which is a list of user object. So user object has name as Dave and age as 21. And then again I have another user which is John and Hippo, each of age 22 and 23, right? So let me remove the other stuff at the top. Now how do I access the name of the first element of my users array, right? So I can say const. So first it goes from outside in. So first it is an array. We have to pick the element in an array, and I want to pick the name property, right? So I can say this equal to users, and I can say console dot log name. So you can see Dave, right? I know it sounds very weird. The syntax sounds very weird, but trust me, it saves a lot of time once you get used to it. In this way you can very simply access the property of an object within the array, right? In case it's the reverse, you have a object which has array as a property, right? So let's go to another example, and I say const admin, right? Admin is equal to, and this admin has a list of names, right? There are a list of names who are admins, right? And I have another variable like department. Department is say math, right? So math department, right? In case I want to access const, I want to access the department of my admin. So I say this, and I say department of admin, right? You get math. Suppose I want the first admin in my names array, the first name in my names array. This remains the same. I want the name, right? I can say this, right? Array in an object. So in array in an object example, so if I want to access the department, it's very straightforward. It is a property of an object and I just access it straightforward way. In case I want to access the first element of the array property of the object, what do I do? This is the names. I write names first and then which element do you want? So I say the, in brackets I can say admin name. It will give me the first element of my array. In case I want to get the first and the second element in the array, what do I do? I can say admin name 1 and admin name 2, right? And here I can change it to admin name 2, right? So this is how we destructure the array. So what all did we see? Just a short recap. We saw how to destructure object properties. We use flower brackets when we destructure object properties. How to destructure function arguments and how to destructure arrays, right? We use square brackets when we destructure arrays. In that we saw two different concepts. One is how to get the data when it is object inside the array and when it is array inside the object. The syntax is little weird. Once you start using them, you will get used to it.